Hi, I'm Dave from DaveMathSchools.com, where you can go to learn a variety of math and science topics. I'm going to try and make physics easy. String theory isn't as complicated as you might think, and you don't even need math to understand it. First, let's talk about how the Big Bang started. In order to understand the universe, we have to go back to the beginning, all the way to the beginning, the Big Bang. You might have heard of the Big Bang as being like a big explosion. A big explosion. Approximately 13.8 billion years ago, the singularity at the center of the universe started to explode due to the zero-dimensionality of the singularity decaying into a more solid state, matter. First, the zero dimensions of the singularity, which is just a single point, collapsed into one dimension. One dimension is just a line, or as we call in string theory, a string. This is what string theory strings are, one-dimensional objects. Then, one-dimensional objects tied themselves into knots to form three-dimensional objects. These knots are what are known as atoms. At the beginning of time, in the tiny singularity of the universe, all of the energy that was there collapsed into matter all at the same time. And this energy created a massive burst, with all of the matter expanding away from the center of the explosion, just like this. So let's talk about what happened in the first instance of the Big Bang. The first short instance of the Big Bang, up to the first 10 seconds ago, were timeless. They had no time. This might seem strange, but trust me, it'll make sense. Matter propagated outwards from the center of the universe as a solid mass of plasma. Time is the increase of entropy, so time didn't exist for the first few seconds of the universe, since the universe was uniform. However, once the material had spread out far enough, small irregularities in the plasma field caused small bubbles of air to appear throughout the plasma field, much like in a glass of carbonated soda. The small pockets of air started to conglomerate together and grow bigger, and between the pockets of air, the plasma collapsed into dense bundles of atoms. Just like this, dense bundles of atoms in between the pockets of air. As the strings making up the plasma became knotted and twisted, they formed three-dimensional knots, which formed these bundles of atoms. As the universe expanded outwards, these masses of atoms grew larger and larger, and the space between them grew larger as the air between them expanded. At this point, the universe had cooled down enough to allow for supersymmetry between masses of atoms to arise. Supersymmetry. This caused superstrings, also known as Higgs bosons, to be created, invisibly linking matter to other matter, just like this. Invisibly linking matter to other matter. This is what is known as gravity. The superstrings did not link all of the particles in the universe together, however. Remember how atoms are just knots of one-dimensional strings? When the superstrings propagated outwards from the center of the universe, in supersymmetry, some of them were able to pass through the loops in the knots. These knots, or particles, therefore were not imbued with mass by gravity, and were instead looped onto the superstrings like a ring on a rope, allowing them to travel between matter particles quickly. These particles are what are known as photons, or light particles. So what does all this mean for the future of the universe? What does string theory say about how the universe will end? Well, the M theory of physics states that the strings in the universe naturally continued to knot themselves into extra dimensions beyond the third dimension, including the dimension of time, until they occupied the maximum mathematically possible amount of dimensions, 11 dimensions. Maintaining this level of dimensionality takes a huge amount of energy, which is why the universe has entropy. Eventually, the universe is going to run out of this energy. All of the stars will burn out, and all of the strings will start to collapse back into smaller dimensions. This will cause the superstrings to recede back to the center of the universe. The superstrings will recede back to the center of the universe, just like this. This is what scientists refer to as the Big Crunch, where all of the matter in the universe comes back together to form a singularity. You can think of it as the opposite of the Big Bang. Since another singularity is formed by a contraction, which happened the same way but in reverse as matter expanded outwards from the Big Bang, there will be more Big Bangs in the future, coming from the next singularity, and they will produce exactly the same configuration of matter in the next universes as we have in this one. So sometime in the future, trillions of years from now, there will be someone exactly like you, made out of the same matter as you, watching a video exactly like the one you're watching now. That's a true but strange science fact. This cycle of Big Bangs and Big Crunches has gone on for an infinite amount of time and will continue to happen forever. History truly does repeat itself. Now you have a thorough understanding of string theory. Thanks for watching.